Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron!
Aaron is back, everybody. Welcome back for some long overdue SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in jail. Oh my goodness. Kind of an unfortunate day to get out of jail, considering everyone's downtown right now doing the Lisa McPherson protest stuff. I feel that was a very unfortunate timing. And obviously, someone's saying audio is a problem. Really? Okay, hold on, guys. Test. 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 What's going on? Give me a sec here, guys. Hold on.
Okay. All right. I guess maybe I was muted, but let me go back to I'm going to try to go back to my good microphone though and see if it will still work.
Oh, wait. I know what happened.
Test. That's what happened. I had this microphone plugged in instead of this microphone. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Little technical snafu there. My bad. We got it all taken care of. I hope you guys could at least hear me. Could you hear me, but it was really quiet, or could you not hear me at all? It was just quiet? Okay, good. All right, we're all good. All right. Fresh out of the clink. Oh, fresh out of the shower. Nothing like a good old SPTV sweat rag to get the live stream started, you guys. Oh, I needed a steaming hot shower. I mean, guys, I did shower in prison every day, sometimes twice a day. But there's no substitute for a steaming hot shower in your own home. Oh my God, you guys, I have got so much stuff that I want to talk to you about. I'm going to try to keep notes as things cross my mind. But first of all, just a huge thank you to everyone who helped to keep the channel going and content on the channel going and the community updated on everything. Thank you so much to Jenna. Thank you so much to Marilyn and Natalie. Thank you so much to Heather for helping behind the scenes. Thank you so much to George Massey. Thank you to Church of Satiretology. Thank you to Kelly Copter. Thank you to Rabbit. Alex the Rabbit published our jailhouse interview. That reminds me, let me make a note. State attorney using using content of recorded jailhouse calls and videos in today's hearing. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, we have so much to talk about. I got to tell you guys, this was the best and the worst thing that ever happened to me. And worst, honestly, it's hard, worst just because it's like, I was terrified at the idea of going to jail. I had very negative ideas about people who have been to jail, had been to jail, just got out of jail, all this kind of stuff. And not like horrific ideas. I mean, you guys know I've got friends who are former, convicts and stuff. And but I mean, if I ran into someone at a bar and just got to chatting and found out they had just gotten out of spending 30 days in jail, I'd be like, oh, I wish I knew that before striking up a conversation. I'm going to go find someone else to talk to. And now if I found that out, I'd be like, tell me more. I want to hear the story, because it's actually incredible. The people who are in jail and how many of them are there for totally bogus reasons, or how many of them are just honestly like normal, decent, good people who ran into some trouble or made some mistakes. And once you get into the system, it kind of grinds you up and spits you out. And it really seems to be designed to hold on to the people who end up getting ensnared in it. It's funny. It never even occurred to me until I started, having conversations about this with people who've been in and out of the system for years and years and years. Probation, it turns out, is kind of a big scam just to trap people into going back to jail for practically no good reason. The amount of people who were in jail in my pod, which is like 80 guys, the amount of people who were in jail who were there for things they had not even been charged with and were just waiting to find out whether the state was going to charge them, because the state has basically a month to decide whether it's going to actually move forward with a charge or not. And the amount of people who are in there just because they can't afford bail and they're just waiting for the state to charge, and the percentage of times that the state is like decides not to charge on like the last day they have to make that decision. The prison system is just a revenue generation mill for the state, or the jail system. It's just a revenue generation mill for the state. That's not to say that there aren't honest to God criminals that society needs to be protected from, and that's all fine and dandy. But that's not what is filling up the majority of the jails. The amount of homeless people who are in jail is remarkable. The charge that a lot of these guys are picked up on is just trespassing. But if you happen to be trespassing on a particular type of property, you're also charged with burglary, whether you burgled something or not. So, if someone's sleeping in a covered area that happens to be a construction site, they're going to be charged with trespassing and burglary. And if there happens to be any baggies in the area that may have once contained a possibly illegal substance, that person's going to be charged with possession, even though there's no evidence or observation of possession or use of any kind. I have all sorts of thoughts on that, which I guess is not really the purpose of this stream, but I guess that's what I mean when I say the best and the worst thing that happened to me is like, I never would have been able to have gotten this perspective of our criminal justice system, the inside of the system, the people who are in the system, the people who run this system, if I had not had this experience. Now, I didn't need 22 days of the experience. I would have settled for 5 to 8. That would have been good by me. Also, it's amazing how time starts to snowball. Time goes by faster and faster the longer that you're in there. It felt like the second 2 weeks went by faster than the first week. Once you get into your routine, once you figure out how to pass the time, and once what seems to be an impossible situation becomes your new normal. And it's funny, when I was sitting in there, I was reminded it's like you forget these things. I was thrown back in time to the first times I was introduced to Sea Org birthing. You walk into a room with 3, 6, 9, 12 men in bunk beds and cramped quarters with, not even enough space to hang up the small amount of clothes that you have. And remember, my first thought would have been, nope, not for me. No, this is not going to work. Nope. Take me to the other space. And then very quickly you discover there isn't really a choice. And you're like, well, this isn't what I signed up for. And then it very quickly becomes your new normal. And so for me, jail, just the 22 days, it very quickly did. It probably took about a week. It probably took about the first week for it truly to become my new normal. That first Friday that I went back, after the first week was done, that I went back to court and was fully expecting to get out. I started to get tunnel vision. Everything started to come right to a point. I thought I might pass out at one point when I was like, wait a second, am I going back? I was in a pretty good state of mind as long as I thought I was getting out today, but am I about to go back? Because I remember thinking how literally impossible it would be for this judge to put me in jail intentionally and knowingly over Thanksgiving, taking me away from my family on Thanksgiving. You know what? Before I forget, let me write down a note. David Gentili. I'm going to come back to that in a second. And I remember that was a bad Friday. I was in a bad frame of mind that Friday and the next day, the Saturday after that. And then once I got over that hump, it was all downhill. And I don't want to overstate the fact, but I want to say I made some really good friends in jail. I'm a very nice, friendly, cooperative, helpful, sharing and kind inmate. And treating people well got me treated well. And I think I made some good friends in jail that I think I'm going to stay in touch with and maybe even help them out if I can. So many of these people are good people. You know, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's kind of the opposite of when you meet celebrities and you realize, oh, celebrity is kind of a fake thing. It doesn't really exist. It's just another guy or gal who happens to have a job where a lot of people happen to know who they are. You realize it's fake. Like the whole idea of celebrity, it's like a facade. It's like not real, right? This is like the opposite side of that coin. Oh, felons, inmates, criminals. It's like, oh, these are just normal people. These are just normal people. And you hear their stories and you're like, wow, that could happen to anybody. And then again, speaking for myself, I started to see sort of a pattern of how once you get into the system is kind of designed to keep you coming back into the system. How about this? Someone pointed this out to me today. If you're on probation, you know how when cops are, following cars on the freeway and stuff, they're running plates. They're running the plates to see who's driving the car and, whether that person has any warrants or what their criminal history is. Is Rabbit in the chat? I see someone saying hi to Rabbit. Hey, Rabbit, good to see you. Someone pointed out to me, if you are on probation for a drug offense and a cop runs your plate behind you, they will pull you over because they know statistically speaking, people who commit drug offenses tend to continue to commit drug offenses, and people on probation tend to try to get away with stuff on probation. So it's one of these things where it's like that cop wouldn't have pulled over someone else in that situation, driving that way in that moment, in that time, in that space, but they happen to be following, like any other person the cop might have pulled over might have been someone who, after having been pulled over, might have been sent to jail for something. But they tend to target people that they already know have been in the system. So they're driving behind somebody, they run a plate, they see this person's on probation for drug offenses, let's pull them over. Of course, you're going to manufacture something they were doing. Did they fail to signal before changing a lane? Were they driving too fast? Were they driving too slow? And then you pull them over. Maybe you say, I smell a sense of something, or I'm gonna have the dog come out and take a sniff. You can always make those dogs hit on a car. And then you search someone, and chances are you're sending that person back to jail. The amount of people who are in jail for simply putting something into their own body that the government has said it doesn't like is just astonishing. Just astonishing to me. Very, very sad. These people are who they finally get out of the system, or they finally, maybe they're out on probation. They finally get a job. They finally figure out how to get their kids back, how to get a place to live. And then they get rung up on probation, back to jail, lose their job, lose their place to live, lose their kids again. Really sad stories from otherwise really good people. And the kids suffer, man. Guys, Scientologist David Gentili. I've done a bunch of videos about him. He ran a Ponzi-like scheme through a company called GBP Capital. I always get it wrong. GPB or GBP? Nobody knows. David Gentili, Scientologist out of Clearwater and New York City. And I can't remember if he was convicted or if he pled guilty. It was one or the other to running a $1 billion Ponzi-like scheme. Defrauded investors of tens to hundreds of millions of dollars, sentenced to 7 years federal prison, reported to prison the day after I was sent to jail. Just a few days ago, Donald Trump pardoned him in full pardon, no restitution, required, no probation. I spent more days in jail for low-level misdemeanors I have not been convicted of than David Gentili spent for taking defrauding people, defrauding investors out of tens to hundreds of millions of dollars, and sentenced to 7 years in prison. I did more days in jail than David Gentili did in prison. Whoever finds out what Donald Trump's connection is to David Gentili, if it runs any deeper than Trish Duggan, please let me know so I can do a video about it. Some of you might have already let me know, and I haven't checked my emails yet. But absolutely incredible. Oh, you know what? I'm going to be doing a funny little disclaimer. It's funny in my mind, at least. Because the judge made it clear today that her main concern in all of this has not been Scientology protesting. It has been perceived violations of her original restraining order or order of protection between me and John Tyler Gaffney. And so I want to make sure. What's interesting, guys, is that somehow the prosecutor has succeeded in convincing the judge that there has been repeated violations of the restraining order that she had authorized a little while back. And what's interesting is that every time the judge gives an example of something she believes was a violation of the restraining order, it's something that occurred prior to the restraining order being issued. Now that I'm already out of jail and I'm not on a GPS monitor, you guys, that was the big victory today. My lawyers were very confident that I was going to get out today. They were also very confident that I was going to be put on a GPS monitor, an ankle bracelet. Because 2 weeks ago, the judge said I was going to let him out on his own recognizance and a GPS monitor, but I'm not going to. So she had already indicated an intent to put me on a GPS monitor. So my lawyers, who by the way are doing a fantastic job and working amazingly together, my lawyers were very confident I was getting on a GPS today. And after she made my lawyers beg and plead and argue for why I should be able to get out of jail today, I was scared shitless, you guys. She was giving every indication in my mind that I was going back to jail. And she made my lawyers work their little butts off today, arguing and begging and pleading. Not begging, you guys know what I mean. And I think at one point, one of the lawyers was like, Your Honor, here's what it really comes down to. My client, he understands the rules. Even if you don't like the titles of his videos, even if he's bombastic, even if he's hyperbolic, that's rhetoric. That's rhetoric. Those are words. But his actions show he understands your order. He understands the rules, and he is prepared to abide by them. And she goes, well, we're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to find out because I'm going to let him out. And I was like, oh my God, dear Jesus. I was like, come on. She's as dramatic as I am. And then, because we're going to let him out, right? And then the state attorney jumped in and is like, Your Honor. I'm not a fan of the state attorney, so that's exactly who I'm going to imitate her. Your Honor, we would like to increase the order of protection from 500 feet to 1,000 feet. And the judge was like, nah. almost like that. The judge had like a total like sort of personality shift, for like the last 3 minutes of the hearing, right? She was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And then the prosecutor was like, Your Honor, are we going to put the defendant on a GPS monitor? And she's like, no, we're not doing that either. Because we're not going to come back here and have an argument about whether he was 497 feet away from the building or 501 feet away from the building. And she goes, because I'm sure Scientology's already measuring it to the foot anyway. And then she said to me, she goes, this isn't some rinky-dink outfit you're going up against, Mr. Smith-Levin. You need to be careful and know what you're doing. They have cameras everywhere, as you know, and they're watching your every move. As you can see, every time you come in here, they've got some new video of you from one of their cameras. So you really need to be careful and know what you're doing. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And she said so. It was funny. Her whole personality changed for like the last 3 to 4 minutes of the thing. It was very funny. I heard the gallery start to laugh. Although one of the things the deputies do not want you to do is to turn around and look at the gallery. I made that mistake the first time, and I thought they were about to tase me, bro. So I literally didn't see a single face in the gallery until I turned around to leave the courtroom out the side door, because you still have to go back to jail. And I saw Erica's face. That's literally the only face I could even focus on. I saw Erica's face. So I don't know if Erica's watching or if she's downtown streaming right now. But I saw you, Erica. And I totally lost my train of thought. What was I even saying? I don't know. We're talking about the no contact order. The no contact order. So, one of the really, she said, listen, she just drove it home. She's like, and listen, I want to be crystal clear with you, Mr. Smith-Levin, because if you violate this, we're going to be back here. You're going to go to jail. You are responsible for your channel. Okay. You are not to come within 500 feet of, she might have said both defendants. There's this weird gray area of like what exactly is in writing and what the judge seems to say or maybe accidentally say, and then what she's going to remember she said or what she meant to say. And that's why I really have to be a lot more careful. I only have a restraining order against Tyler John Gaffney. I guess his legal name is John Tyler Gaffney. Anyway, I only have a restraining order against the alleged victim in the first charge. I do not have a restraining order against the alleged victim, which is Andrew Shape, otherwise known as Norman Andrew Shape. I do not have a restraining order against, nothing restraining me from Andrew. But the judge seems to want me to at least act as if I do. And that's fine with me. So anyway, I'm not to come within 500 feet of the alleged victim. And that means, or any building he's likely possibly to be working in. That's a piece of cake, guys. Scientology has its sort of, kind of its key, obvious, active properties in Clearwater. And I see one thing here I'm going to star for later. That's no problem. Staying 500 feet away from one or both of the alleged victims, not a problem. She said, you are also not to attempt to communicate with one or both. See, legally it's one, but we might interpret her intentions to be both. Do not attempt to communicate with one or both alleged victims. And the third part, do not attempt or induce others to communicate on your behalf with one or both of the alleged victims. That's not a problem either. I have never violated any of the above 3 points. Ever. Now that I'm out, it actually doesn't matter that the judge seems to think I have already in the past violated her order in some way. Now that I'm out, the past is the past. It's irrelevant. There's no reason for me to go back or ask my lawyers to try to get the judge to understand, no, judge, I really didn't ever violate the order. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that from now on, I continue not to violate the order. And that's why I'm going to make a habit of, in the beginning of all of my videos, reading a letter from my lawyer. And it's not really a letter from my lawyer. It's just going to be some shit that I read that I say is a letter from my lawyer. But it's basically going to be like, nothing in this video should ever be interpreted to be an invitation or a request or an encouragement to communicate with either of the alleged victims or to communicate on my behalf with either of the alleged victims. There's another little gray area here. I am the only one that's not allowed to go within 500 feet of John Tyler Gaffney. But the state attorney seems to want the judge to believe that if I encourage other people to go within 500 feet of John Tyler Gaffney, that would be encouraging others to violate my restraining order on my behalf. And it's an interesting gray area because when I say those words out loud, it does sound like that would be getting people to harass John Tyler Gaffney. And I would, and so that's why I've never done that. But here's where it gets a gray area. I am allowed to encourage people to go and protest downtown outside of the Superpower building, outside of the Flag building. I am allowed to encourage, and I will continue to encourage as many people as possible to go and protest outside the Fort Harrison Hotel and the Superpower building. the state attorney will try to interpret that as me encouraging other people to go and harass John Tyler Gaffney. The judge isn't falling for that. The judge is not falling for that. She's reiterated that the protests are protected. And so, but that's why I want to clarify that when I'm encouraging people to go protest outside of the superpower building, it is not so that they can all try to get within 500 feet of John Tyler Gaffney. I mean, even though it wouldn't matter if I was, but you see, it would piss off the judge though. You see, like if I said, I'm only not allowed to ask other people to communicate with John Tyler Gaffney on my behalf, but I'm allowed to encourage people to go down there to the bill. Anyway, I think you guys get my point. If I'm actually trying to encourage people to get within a certain distance of John Tyler Gaffney, I could understand how that could look like harassment, how the judge would interpret that as harassment, and how she would most likely consider that a violation of the restraining order. And so, but again, it requires me to thread this needle. I want people to go protest. I do not care which Scientology security guard happens to be working at which building at which time, nor do I, nor any of you, have any way of knowing which Scientology security guard is working at which location, at which building, at which time. And so anyway, that's just going to be the purpose of my little disclaimer, though, that me encouraging people to go down and protest should not be interpreted as an encouragement for anyone to communicate with John Tyler Gaffney or Norman Andrew Shape, especially not on my behalf. And it's not an encouragement for anyone to go and harass either of those two or to come within a certain distance of them. And, the only thing the state attorney between now and whenever we go to trial for the first charge, the only thing the state attorney can try to get me in trouble for is violations of this no contact order. And that's why I'm going to make a habit of reiterating this on my channel, so that even if the state attorney does try to make some sort of a BS argument, my attorneys have all the ammunition they need to defend that and make the prosecutors look ridiculous in front of the judge. And I want to say this for the record. I think the prosecutors are ridiculous. I think they are ridiculous. I think they are engaging in malicious, directed, targeted prosecution for political purposes. And I think they are ridiculous. Okay. Mandy Me is the specific prosecutor on the case. I'm sure I'm told her orders come from above her. She's not the one calling the shots over there. But Mandy did take particular issue with some things I said in some private phone calls from the jail, where I said Mandy Me was a brand new lawyer who had no idea what she was doing and is incompetent and is being played like a fiddle by Scientology. And that I repeated those slanderous accusations multiple times. It's not slander to privately tell someone in a private communication, a private phone call, even if that phone call is being recorded, it's still a private phone call, that I think Mandy Me is a brand new incompetent lawyer who has no idea what she's doing and is being played like a fiddle by Scientology. And the judge said, I had every right to say that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, that's the restraining order thing out of the way. Okay, I'm going to give you some other examples of things that were said in recorded phone calls from jail, which of course we knew that are recorded, but it's not like you've got an option. Do you want to talk on the recorded line or do you want to talk on the non-recorded line? Guys, I did over 70 hours of phone calls. I did over 3 hours of phone calls per day. And by the way, thank you for everyone who put money on my commissary account. I crunched the numbers as I was leaving, and I essentially spent approximately $400 on food and $600 on phone calls. I'm not kidding you guys. 16 cents a minute. If you try to call someone collect from jail, it is an absolute nightmare. Especially if they don't know in advance that you're calling them, which they don't, especially the first time. They've literally got to pull out a credit card, which they can never do in time the first 1 or 2 times they call. Okay, so after like the first few days, I realized it was easier to get people on the phone if instead of calling them collect, I used commissary money to buy phone minutes, and then I initiated a call that I was paying for. It cost the same, whether I pay for it or whether I call collect, it's still 16 cents per minute. And I figured, you know, I wasn't going to eat $1,000 worth of commissary food anyway. So I might as well put that money towards phone calls instead of expecting other people to have to pay for all those phone calls collect. So, you know, over the course of like over 70 hours of phone calls over 22 days, they were able to get some really choice quotes from me about the judge. See, the prosecutor tried to be like, Judge, wait until you see what Mr. Smith-Levin said about you, Judge. Send his ass back to jail. One of the things I said is the judge really doesn't seem to like people like me. They actually said that. He said the judge doesn't seem to like people like me. Well, what does that mean? She does not seem to love protesters. She might understand that protesting is constitutionally protected, but she does not seem to love them, especially when they're using tactics she doesn't like, which might be legal, but she doesn't like them. She repeatedly made derogatory statements about using chalk on sidewalks and making a mess on the sidewalks with chalk. Now, she didn't say somebody should go to jail for it, but she did make derogatory comments about it. She made so many derogatory comments about putting cameras up to people, as she called it, sticking cameras in people's faces. I would argue that in most cases where you're recording someone you're speaking with, you're not actually sticking your camera in their face. But look, this is a little bit of a generational thing, you know. The judge made it very clear. She's like, look, I'm not a social media person. I don't get it. I don't do it. Other people's problems are not my problems. I don't have Facebook. Basically, she doesn't have any social media. So if you take the generational factor into play and the lack of social familiarity into play, I can put myself in the judge's shoes and understand how someone can be in a frame of mind where you see someone like me who's walking up to people in public, you know, recording, phone, gimbal, and, you know, things, something along the lines of, oh, it's one of those people. I'm not even offended by it. I mean, I'm offended that it sent me to jail for 22 days, but, you know, I get it. Okay. So I said, when I say, yeah, she didn't like people like me. Yeah. She certainly doesn't seem to like people who make the money on YouTube, given the comments she made about it. But she's got every right to feel that way. What was some of the other ones? Oh, I made a statement. The judge doesn't know the difference between a video title and the content of the video. That's one of the things that I said. Now, if I thought it was a specific sentence that was going to be shown to the judge, I might be like, the judge doesn't understand that the judge doesn't seem to understand that the prosecutor only read out the title of the video and expected the judge to get upset by it. But the prosecutor never attempted to explain what the video was actually about. And for some reason, the judge didn't ask. It's just a fact. It's just a fact, right? What was something else? This was taken from a conversation that I was having. This was a conversation with Jenna, and Jenna was worried that some people doing videos might be inclined to want to respond to some of the internet hemorrhoids that were doing sort of kind of drama hate videos about my situation. And Jenna thought that wouldn't be a good look. And generally speaking, she's right. I kind of stopped doing a bunch of that content on my channel. And this particular conversation was happening just after I had been sent back to jail for another 2 weeks. And I said something specifically like, at this point, I don't give a shit what videos are done on the channel. They could literally be about anything. I don't care at all. Right? And the state attorney wanted to represent that video to basically be like, I don't care if people do videos attacking and harassing the alleged victims in the case. This is why I say I have some really choice, not so nice thoughts about the prosecutors, because they are deliberately and maliciously misrepresenting normal statements to be things, and that they're misrepresenting as escalations of tensions, escalations of harassment, violations of the protection order, and grounds to put me back in jail. And I just don't know how you do that with a straight face. I don't know how you look yourself in the mirror and sleep at night, misrepresenting facts to try to get someone put into jail. Okay, so that was something that they tried to use. What was something else? Anyway, after the prosecutor read all of the excerpts. Oh, and they said, and there were so many hours of phone calls, Your Honor. We weren't even able to even scratch the surface. And I'm thinking 70 hours of phone calls, 22 days. And that's the best fucking shit you came up with? Lame. And the judge was like, I heard everything they said. He didn't say anything wrong. I've been called much worse. You think that bothers me? I don't care. Now, unfortunately, she sort of directed those statements at me. I'm like, no, Judge, I don't think it bothers you. I wasn't talking to you. It's these people being like, Judge, you want to hear what Aaron said about you? It was really mean. You're going to be upset. You should send him to jail. I'll tell you what. Both of my lawyers have told me, they're like, look, no matter what's happening here in this pretrial area, this pretrial period, no matter what the judge seems to think about the protesters or the Scientology stuff or the this or the that, or they're like, look, I'm just going to tell you to you straight. When it comes to going to trial, there's not a more fair judge than this judge in terms of actually going to trial and just calling balls and strikes. She does not tip the scale. She does not interject. She does not intervene. And they're kind of like, it sort of sucks that this is happening right now because it makes the judge seem like you're not going to get a fair trial. And they're like, but believe me, you couldn't hope for a better judge when we get to trial. And that's sort of the other thing about this pretrial phase. This pretrial phase is absolutely, I don't know if it's ripe or rife. I think it's rife. It's the perfect stage for Scientology to manipulate. It's pre-discovery. It's pre-trial. There's no way for us to know what the prosecutors are going to say when we walk in. And it's the place where Scientology can do their fear mongering. They go, why am I saying Scientology, even though it's the state attorney doing all this? Because Scientology's legal department is poring over every second of every video. And they are the ones, by the way, the state attorney even admitted this. They are the ones cherry picking and selectively choosing, misleading and miscontexted clips and putting hundreds of clips from my jailhouse interview chats onto a thumb drive and sending it to the state attorney, who's basically just forwarding Scientology's work product and Scientology's representations of what that work product is to the judge and presenting this and representing it as, this poor little minority religion being harassed by this evil man. And what's interesting is that it's like the balls of them to say, I'm harassing 2 Sea Org members when they have an entire fucking website in my name that's been on the internet for 8 years now, completely dedicated to slandering and smearing and harassing me. Absolutely incredible. Oh, by the way, as a part of the, let me make a note of this. Won't come back to it. I had I guess you'd call it a psych eval. That's not what they called it. But I'm going to call it that. And it was 2.5 hours. And it was actually incredible, to be honest. And I'll tell you, that lady was like, you were definitely the most interesting person I've spoken to in a long time. And she's like, you've got fucking crazy PTSD. She didn't say fucking and she didn't say crazy, but she still said exactly that. Let's see. Oh yeah. This pre-trial phase is the absolute perfect opportunity for Scientology to abuse this system to restrict me and my rights and my freedom and my ability to do here what I do here. This is where they make their plays. And we cleared that hurdle. They have now thrown at me the worst they could come up with. And it wasn't good enough. It was only good enough to keep me in jail for 22 days. But that's over now, isn't it? And I'm not going back to jail. And I'm not losing at trial. And I'm not picking up any new charges. Scientology is fucked in terms of their strategy to silence me and sideline me and have a chilling effect on the SPTV nation and the protesting activities that the Clearwater crew does. It has backfired. They took their best shots and they missed. That's right. Spending 22 days in jail was a miss. It didn't work. It didn't take me out. And it just gave me that much more resolve and that much more focus, and has caused me to be, moving forward, more disciplined. That's why I say it was both the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me. It was certainly the most inconvenient thing that ever happened to me. I think I joked with my girls that it was basically I was in rehab for social media addiction. I said it was a summer camp. I made some off-color jokes that I hesitate to make here on stream. I said it was like summer camp, but with less molestation. But the part that my kids really thought was funny is I'm like, it's basically I had to check myself into rehab for social media addiction. I mean, guys, I spend on average 13 hours a day on my phone. And it prevents me from getting the stuff done that I really want to get done. Have you guys gotten tired of hearing me talk about the entire list of videos that I just never have enough time to get to? Well, it's like, I have enough time to get to them. I just spend most of my day doom scrolling on Twitter and Instagram. It's not like I'm doing 6 hours of videos a day and I just can't chip away at that list of ideas that I have. No, it's more like I'm always thinking about all the ideas that I have, and I've only been spending about 90 minutes a day on them on average, probably over the last 3 or 4 months. Okay, I'm going to make another note. I want to talk about sleep in jail because boy, has that been my biggest problem. Guys, social media addiction. Guys, I can't even think or remember or conceive of when was the last time in my life that I was required to be alone in bed with my own thoughts for hours at a time, uninterrupted by reaching for a phone and therefore reaching for a video, scrolling on Twitter. I mean, it's incredible. It's almost what made this experience, I said it, both the best and the worst thing that I've experienced. Being forced to go 22 days without looking at a phone is hugely therapeutic. For me personally, I'm addicted to the phone. Clinically, I'm addicted to the damn thing. And I'm not even addicted to it in like an efficient way. It's like, I'll take my, what am I don't know, 4 or 5 favorite apps. And I'll even be in the middle of watching something on YouTube that I'm like really enjoying. And like, I want to finish this thing. And I'll be like, okay, but what's happening on Twitter? Let me just check that real quick. And I'll just bounce back and forth between 2 or 3 or 5 social media apps. And I know it's not good for me, but I can't help it. I'm addicted to it. So anyway, going 22 days without doing that was incredibly therapeutic. It got to the point where I was like, oh, wait a second. We're about to have to secure. Secure is what you would call it in the Sea Org. They call it lockdown. We're about to have to lock down. I'm actually looking for, I would put a pillowcase over my eyes to like keep out the light and everything. And I would put little earbuds in and turn on a little Jesus podcast so I would have some white noise in my ears. Everyone's so afraid I'm converting to Christianity. Calm down, people. It got to the point where I was really, really looking forward to just laying down in sort of a Zen, peaceful state and just being like, let's see what's happening in that mind of mine tonight. This is like, it's like Mystery Science Theater 3000, but in my own brain. And it was fun as hell, you guys. This is one of the things that made time start to go by faster, is when I got into this comfort of just being alone with my own thoughts and almost like a little amusement park going on in my brain every evening until I fell asleep. Guys, the worst thing about jail is trying to sleep. The absolute worst thing about jail is trying to sleep. I am not exaggerating when I say the bed is just a steel sheet. There's no springs. There's no give. There's no nothing. It is a steel cot-sized sheet upon which is a mat that when compressed cannot be more than half an inch or 3/4 of an inch. It's definitely not an inch compressed. And that's, I'm a big guy. I'm about 220 pounds, 215 after jail. And it, you know, I've kind of wide shoulders. It is impossible to sleep on your side. Like, there's no pillows in jail. There's no pillows in jail. The jail gives every single prisoner an Android tablet without fail. Like, that's standard. No one's not getting a tablet because they kind of have this electronic system. It's a paperless system. Everyone has a tablet, but no one has a pillow. Now, they do give you a pillowcase, which is very deceptive because it leaves you with a sort of hope or promise of a pillow. And you think, oh, a pillowcase, that's nice. I'll get a pillow soon. No, you won't. You will not get a pillow. They don't exist. At first, they said, not everyone has a pillow, or we don't have enough pillows to go around. I very quickly learned that what that meant was there's no fucking pillows. Okay, so why did they give you a pillowcase? Because eventually you can accumulate enough towels to stack the towels and put them inside the pillowcase and act like you have a pillow. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You're not actually allowed to have more than one towel. You have to steal them. Yes, that's right, folks. The Pinellas County jail system has an incentive and has given you an incentive to steal the towels they don't want you to steal because they've given you a pillowcase to stuff with towels, but they only give you one towel, and that towel is wet half the time. No one wants to sleep on a wet fucking towel. Okay, it's very easy to steal towels. Very easy. But then they do shakedowns every few weeks where, without any advance warning, a bunch of, 12 deputies come in. They tell everyone, stand up. They used 8 o'clock in the morning. Everybody wake up right now. Do nothing but get up and walk to the front of your cell. And then you're supposed to hold the only legal items you're allowed to have, which is your scrubs, your one towel, and your one cup. Oh, yeah, they give you one cup. And it's your coffee cup and it's your soup cup, unless you spend commissary money to buy a PVC bowl, which I eventually did. And then they have everyone go out into the little basketball area and sit down on the ground while they toss every single one of the 80 bunks, confiscating contraband. And contraband is all of the extra towels that you have kept so that you have a goddamn pillow. And this is where the extra pillowcase comes into play, because one pillowcase you want to use to stuff with towels and have a nice little pillow, and the other pillowcase you fold up and you use over your eyes to help you sleep. And then what's the other thing that people have to steal? Sometimes people accumulate extra scrubs, which doesn't make sense because those don't smell any better over time, and you're not allowed to wash them in the laundry there. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. I got off track. What are we talking about? Sleeping in jail. Here's the problem with sleeping. The pods, you're basically in, a pod is one giant room with 80 guys. And think of it as like the size of maybe like a middle school gymnasium. I guess it depends on how big the school you went to is. Just take a high school gymnasium. High ceilings. On one side of the pod, there's sort of stairs and it leads to a double decker, and the pods have the pod is what they call the whole gymnasium area, which is basically your jail. That's where you're going to be. There's no bars in this jail, by the way. There's no bars. There's no cells. There's no whatever. On one side of the gymnasium area, there's 16 little pods. And that's just where you have like 5 little beds, like 2 bunk beds and then a little bed in the back. So you basically have 16 nooks of 5 beds each. And, oh, by the way, you get a coffee cup, but they don't give you coffee. You got to buy the coffee. Coffee is the number one hot selling commodity, the currency. Coffee and noodles is the number one currency in jail. What the hell am I talking about? Pods. Why am I talking about pods? Oh, because I'm talking about sleeping. Why am I talking about sleeping? Oh, right. Okay, everybody locks down to go to bed at 11 o'clock. But you don't have to go to bed. You just have to be in your bunk. You're still allowed to talk. You're allowed to play cards. You're allowed to do whatever. You just have to be in your little area. If you have a mean deputy, they want you to, They want you to shut the hell up. But most deputies will be like, do whatever you want until midnight. Okay. So you lock down at 11 o'clock. You eat breakfast at 1:45 a.m. Who decided this? For a while it was 2, but that's because the kitchen was a little behind. Breakfast is served at 1:45 a.m. I'm not kidding. 1:45 a.m. is breakfast, 10:45 a.m. is lunch, and 3:45 is dinner. That's how the schedule. It was fluctuating early on, and then it set into a rhythm, and that's what it was. So now in the beginning, I would actually try to go to bed at 11, and then I would wake up at 1:45 for breakfast, have breakfast, and go back to bed. I realized that was a waste of time. And then I was reminded that in the real world, when I'm not in jail, I usually don't go to bed until 3 o'clock anyway. So basically what we would do is we would lock down at 11, and I would watch my Jesus shows until 1:45 a.m. And then I would get out of bed, have breakfast, and then, everyone would be back in bed by 2:30. And then I would try to sleep from 2:30 until lunch. I would try to sleep from 2:30 until 10:45. That doesn't work very well because the rest of the 80 guys aren't sleeping until 11:45. Anyway, what it comes down to, guys, is that it's almost impossible to get more than 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep in jail. And so the one thing I've noticed that's changed about me physically, I usually have this not very recognizable red dot on my face. It's been there for a long time. It hasn't been there my whole life, but it's been there for a long time. It's never been as big and bright as it is right now. I basically haven't seen sunshine in 22 days. Early on in my time in the slammer, I would go out to the basketball area in the morning hours, and there's this basketball area. But when I say basketball area, you're not actually outside. Like, we're on the 6th floor. My pod was 6C4, represent 6C4. And so I'm actually on the 6th floor of the jail. And if you take the floor of the jail, there's a pod in each corner. So 80 guys, 80 guys, 80 guys, 80 guys. And so when I say it's an outdoor area, it's technically outdoors because up top, the walls give way to essentially screen or mesh where fresh air is blowing in from the top. And at the right hours, the sun shines down into the basketball court. And so guys will go out there and take off their shirts and just like seals on a rock, just try to get some sun. So like the first week I was there, or I should say the first few days, I did try to get some sun. And then after that, I was like, who cares? It's not even worth it. So I haven't seen, my skin hasn't seen sunlight in about 17 days. And this is the only thing that I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, okay, if I get some, because it's not like that's a pimple, guys. It's not a Z. I'm like, okay, if I get regular sleep for a week, and if I get back to seeing sunshine, will this thing go away? Other than that, I don't know. I don't think I look puffier than usual, do I? I don't know. You guys let me know. Oh, the ramen noodles, the top ramen noodles and the seasoning that comes with them are incredibly high in salt and sodium, to the point where the nurse actually tells everyone, like, everyone's blood pressure goes up in jail. And she's like, are you eating the noodles? And you're like, of course I'm eating the noodles. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, that's why your blood pressure is high. Try to cut back on the seasoning. Someone asked me today, okay, well, what is it that you had in jail that you now never, it's totally ruined for you now? And I think the answer is ramen noodles. Not that I'm a big consumer of ramen noodles anyway, but I'm done with ramen noodles. Totally done. Oh, also, I basically was drinking like 10 or 15 cups of coffee a day just out of boredom. And that can't be good for me, right? So that also makes it hard to sleep. In real life, I don't really drink coffee other than in the morning when I get out of bed. I don't even like the taste of coffee. I just drink it because it feels like a good way to start the day. So I'm looking forward to getting back to a healthy routine. You know what? Oh, the psych eval. the psych eval was actually super, super interesting. At one point, I'd just stop her and be like, I'm like, do you know that Scientology has a personality test that has like 200 questions on it? And a lot of their questions are remarkably similar to your questions. She thought that was interesting. And by the way, and I call it a psych eval. I don't think she was a psychiatrist. And I didn't ask her what her licensing was because I really didn't care. But whatever she was good at what she was doing. The interaction with her just felt very positive and reinforcing and helpful. And she gave me some very positive and constructive feedback on the kinds of stuff that I do here on the channel, that I do in the protests, that I do at the SPTV Foundation. Some very helpful thoughts that she shared with me on Scientology and groups like Scientology, and how my work would be even more effective with therapy. And I said to her, and she says what a lot of people say, which is like, you probably still have some idea from Scientology that like therapy is bad or whatever. And I'm like, I'll tell you what I tell everybody. If therapy was free, I'd do it every day. They couldn't get rid of my ass. And I remember she's like, but you can get therapy cheaply for like as little as $75 an hour or a session. And my first thought was, that's $75 too much. I was like, sorry. I'm like, I'm sincere when I say, if it were free, I'd do it all the time, but it's not. And I'm not in the habit of spending money on myself, really. But it is interesting, right? Because she's like, look, she essentially said, like, you grew up in a fucking cult and were trafficked as a child. You've got crazy PTSD. It's actually a miracle you've been able to do everything you've been able to do without also having some sort of a focused effort to help you with some of these things. And she very keenly noted that the type of work I do is the type of work that would and is constantly re-injuring myself. And I'm like, that rings true. It just honestly feels like a price worth paying that I don't mind paying. And she's like, yeah, that's probably why you've been able to like be as effective at doing it as you have been. But imagine how much more effective you could be if you weren't having to constantly re-injure yourself while doing all these things. And I thought, what an insightful way to explain to me the value of doing it. I mean, I certainly appreciate it. It doesn't make me want to spend $75 an hour or a session for anything, but but it was very insightful on her part. And she did put together like a very good report. The reason I got the psych eval is because at one point I did tell my lawyers, I'm like, listen, guys, I know you're very confident that I'm going to get out. And obviously we're going to stick to whatever stipulations the judge puts in place. And I said, but I cannot stress to you enough how important it is for me to not be on a GPS monitor. I'm not a fucking animal. I'm not a threat to anybody. I've not violated the court order even once. And it's so insulting to think that someone would think I need to have a fucking ankle bracelet to keep track of my location. I said, it's very important to me that we at least try to not get the ankle monitor. And that is when Lee specifically said, you know what? Let me fire up this psych eval so that we can say, look, judge, we did this. These are the results. He's not a threat to anyone. He actually helps people leave Scientology. He's not there to threaten people. He's there to protest. And it's part of a whole movement. This isn't just one guy out there harassing people and sticking a camera in people's faces. There's a foundation that exists. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been raised over the years. Dozens of people have been helped over the years. People just like these alleged victims. This guy is not a threat to anyone. So anyway, To the therapist's credit, or the, whatever she was, must have been a therapist of some kind. And to the lawyer's credit, it actually worked. It actually worked. And whether that's what did it or not, we still got the desired result. I can tell you that walking into court today, my lawyers did not think the judge was going to agree to no GPS. And so that was a victory. Okay. Georgie has been starring a ton of comments here. Let's go through them. Let's have some fun. Anna Marie, welcome home, Aaron. I can't wait to hear what happened at your hearing today. I'm dumbfounded by what passes for criminal procedure in Florida. Many things you experienced would never fly in PA. Thank you, Anna Marie. Olga Alice, I bet the first thing he did when he finally got released was a trip to Costco and having some of their pizza. You would think so. But no, I went right home and spent some time with the girls. And the girls had some friends over. Oh my God, my girls' friends are just as fascinated with everything that's happening as all of you guys. And it is so fun to see their genuine fascination and excitement at hearing about what is going on in this world. And my oldest, Beckett, and one of her friends actually were in court today with Heather to watch everything that went down. The other two were in school, but Beckett, my oldest, is in college and work, so her schedule is more within her control. Okay, let's see. But you better believe I'm going to Costco tomorrow. Okay, left-handed koala. I bet Scientology members who are stalking your channel are so pissed. Yes. Okay. Game time, Brian. What happened over a misdemeanor is egregious. Yeah. Let's see. Was there something else that I said about the judge? This is jogging my memory. There was a definitive declarative statement that I made that I said, you know what? And this is what I said on the phone. It was probably to Jenna right after I was sent back to jail for 2 more weeks. I said, you know what? I'm just glad that everybody was there in court live to hear the judge's derogatory and biased and prejudiced remarks that she made about me and what I do. And yep, that was read out loud to the judge. And to the judge's credit, again, I remind you, she said, that's okay. He's allowed to say that. Much worse has been said about me. Do you think that bothers me? It doesn't. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Poppy the boxer. Aaron, your friends and family have done a wonderful job holding down the fort, but you've been so missed, and we are all excited to have you back. Thank you so much, Poppy. I'm glad to be back. Nicole Zarnecki. The system isn't used to people like Aaron, as Aaron actively and actually stands for justice. Thank you so much. Bodes Beaches. Welcome home. You've been missed. Thank you so much. Reformed Keyboard Warrior. Yay. Welcome home, Aaron. Well done also to the team keeping the channel going. This community is the best. Absolutely. Carrie Bruton. I have had his playlists running nonstop for 22 days, and yet I still miss him in person. Thank you, Carrie. John Shastowski. Good to see you, John. I should have sent you some stick-on tattoos. Yes, that would be a lot of fun. Oh, that reminds me. Protests. So one of the first things that happened in my late night alone with my thoughts in jail bed sessions is I need to decide what is the best way to take the protests to the next level to sort of, I hesitate to use the Scientology word, but I kind of want to, so let's just do it. To out-create what Scientology is trying to do to impede our activism. I have to decide whether it makes more sense for me to personally keep protesting at Target 2, which is sort of my initial instinct is, well, that's the thing they're trying to stop me from doing, so I have to keep doing that. Like, they want to stop me from protesting, so I have to keep personally actively protesting. That makes sense to me, obviously. But am I able to take it to the next level if I do that? Do you know what I mean? Like the first week or two that I was at Target too, it was kind of new and exciting and people sort of wanted to come out. But is it going to continue to be that way? Well, and here's where I'm going with it. What I have to decide is, does it make more sense for me to continue personally protesting at Target 2 and trying to get more and more people to come out? Or does it make more sense? Is it more of a proverbial slap in Scientology's face for me to try to encourage more and more people to show up and stream protests and sort of act as like control center here in the studio, highlighting the streams of every new and existing streamer who wants to come out and protest downtown? What will allow me to actually grow the Clearwater protest movement exponentially? Or is there a way I could do both? Is there a way? I'm totally just spitballing here because this is what was going through my mind late at night and when I'm alone with my own thoughts in prison bed, jail bed. Is it possible for someone to have my phone streaming live from my phone protesting downtown at Target 1? See, I can't be at Target 1, but my phone can be. Could someone have my phone and be streaming from Target 1, and I could still be here in the studio sharing that stream from my own channel in addition to everyone else's channel? I don't know. It seems unlikely, but we've never tried it. These are some of the thoughts that were running through my head. Should I be personally out there and encouraging other people to come join me, and the fact that I'm there is what will make other people to want to come join me? Or are more people likely to come if I'm offering to help promote channels and streams and new protesters? That's what's going through my mind. I don't know what the right answer is yet. It might have to be a little bit of a trial and error, but I'm also curious to know what you guys think about it. You know what? Let me put up a poll real quick. Let me take a quick moment here and pull up my browser window. Okay, we're gonna do a poll. Start a poll. Okay. What's better? What's better? Okay. Personally, protesting at Target 2. Promoting more new, protesters. It's not going to let me use enough words here. Promoting others. I'll just say promoting others from home. And you guys know what I'm talking about. And by the way, that second option, promoting others from home, it would be me actively promoting, hey guys, we want a lot more new streaming protest channels in downtown Clearwater. And if anyone who will come out and join, I will promote you and your channel. And as long as you're not being or becoming a lunatic like we saw happen in Los Angeles. You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so here, I'm starting the poll, and we'll just let that run there. Okay, let's see. I'm going to unstar these. Okay. Dort Jurfor, I'm messing that one up. Welcome home, bro. And your channel has been well looked after for you. Absolutely. Melelho. Oh, this is okay. That's fine. I think I know what that. I remember what this stands for. Gonna show off those prison tats? No prison tats, guys. No prison tats. Okay, Dave Owens. Good to see you, Dave. Tech has changed while you were in the slammer. John Shostowski. Reunite Aaron and his pillow. I sent you peanut butter cups. John, as soon as I walked in that door, I saw that big, giant, honking bag of peanut butter cups, and I said, oh, Oh, my pearls. Who sent the peanut butter cups? And then I said, it was probably John Shostowski. So thank you so much, John. I've already had a bunch. Ben Bacon Bits. Wow, Aaron, you seem to get through the Costco withdrawal well. Looking good. Now, I hope there is a Costco key lime pie in your future. Absolutely. Gen X Girl, so glad you're back home. Thank you so much, Gen X Girl. And thank you for being a channel member for 20 months. Izzy. Izzy's one of almost 40 people who connected with me on the Messenger app in jail that people could send me messages. Welcome back, Aaron. Late start is understandable. Costco lines are a nightmare during the holidays. Dave's Deep Dives, great to see you back. Aaron, were you able to keep the jumpsuit for your Halloween costume? Guys, I wish they would let you keep the jail scrubs. I mean, I wish they even gave you the option to like even pay extra to be able to keep the jail scrubs, but they don't. You know, the other thing I wish they would let you keep that they literally don't let you keep, like they make sure you don't keep it. Your little prison ID card. It's got such a cute little photo on it. And it's just such a nice keepsake for my 22 days in the slammer. And you know, it's got my prison number on it. By the way, if I ever go back to jail, I keep the same number. Oh, and the little tablet that I've got that they give, you know, you sign in with your profile and everything. If I ever go back to jail and I sign into the tablet using my, you know, because you basically you keep the same inmate number for life. If you go back, you got the same inmate number. And so if I go log back into the system, all the messages you guys sent me are still there. Any of those fun photos and thumbnails that you guys sent me, still there. My whole record of commissary order history, still there. They're basically keeping a nice little inmate profile on you for life. So you'd think they would let you keep your ID card, or you know, buy some scrubs for the nostalgia of it, but they don't. Refkin Baskin, you have amazing friends. It was amazing to see. Thank you. And you are right, I do. Rib Guy is in the house for chicken from Costco. You have been missed. Let's get back to work. Thank you so much, Rib Guy. That's the other blessing. You know, I said it was the best thing that happened and the worst thing that happened to me. Guys, being able to spend 3 weeks with, I guess I'll say, not distracted. Yeah, it's one thing you could say about being in jail. You're not distracted, right? And just being able to just kind of recenter and refocus and just think about all the freaking amazing ideas of things to do content about. And just to sort of like kind of have the noise kind of like dissipate away. All the rah. And just kind of get back to what matters, kind of a simplicity, a single-minded focus. Especially like the last week, all I could think about was how excited I was to get back to work. Sort of having reset, having gotten to a point where I'm not reaching for my phone every 5 seconds. I'm not constantly wondering what's happening over here. What's happening over here? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I am so excited. This is the worst thing Scientology could have ever done, was to send me away for 22 days to social media rehab. Thank you, Scientology. Okay, Bill Kennedy. Eventually, we would like a daily recap. A daily recap. Do you mean like Natalie used to do, or are you talking about something else? Mary James, aka Mayor James. Welcome back where you belong. You had an amazing crew filling in for you. Thank you, Mary James. Quinn, KWNY, every time. KWNY upstate. Every time I forget what this actually means. But that's okay. Did you do enough time to learn about prison pockets? Is that when you put something in your sleeve and roll it up because someone smuggled some cheese and some mustard back into the jailhouse from the courthouse today using prison pockets? Or are you talking about my good old friend Keister Sutherland? Is that what you're talking about? We gave all of our bunkmates nicknames, and one of them was named Keister Sutherland because he vaguely resembled Kiefer Sutherland if he smoked crack and slept in a dumpster. No offense. And you could tell from a distance that he probably smelled like shit. And I'm saying that to be funny for when the guy watches this video, because he was actually one of my jail buddies. But yes, his nickname was Keister Sutherland. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with prison pockets, if you know what I'm saying. Arkansas Flamingo. Good to see you, Arkansas Flamingo. Thank you for gifting 5 channel memberships. Mary Huffman, welcome home. Enjoy family. Absolutely. Larry Kwartowitz, welcome home. Hopefully you can sue. Law is definitely pretty corrupt. I'm not sure anything has happened that I could sue for. And honestly, I'm not a guy who, you know, suing is such a pain in the butt. But yeah, that's certainly not where my mind is at. I mean, whereas what has happened feels like an injustice, it's just not illegal, you know. Chris 10, good to see you, Chris 10. Welcome home. I so hope you and the girls are all okay. I know you've been away, but I hope you take some time for yourself and those who love and care about you. Yes, thank you so much, Chris. Bill Kennedy, how is your jail language? What is a tweener? Oh boy, you got me there, Bill. A tweener. I learned what a bug is. A bug, just a very annoying person who's constantly annoying people and asking people for everything. That's a bug. What are some of the other words that we had? I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, I don't know. What is a tweener, you guys? Oh, by the way, so we've got this. Let's check out this poll. End poll. Okay. 56% of the people in the poll think I should promote others from other new protest channels from home. And 44% of the people said I should personally protest at Target too. And that is from 404 votes. Interesting. Well, that's good to know. I'm glad to see that there would be a support for me doing that. So that's good. Uh-oh, I lost my place. Oh, here's Marilyn. Marilyn says, checking in from a concert, but just wanted to say welcome back, Jailbird. Thank you, Marilyn, so much. And getting a little phlegmy. It's been a long time since I did a live chat that was long enough that I started to get phlegmy. That used to happen all the time. Do you guys remember that? It used to happen all the time. It used to be my biggest problem, actually. Oh, that's good water. And thank you for all the videos that you did, Marilyn. I really liked our jailhouse chats. And yes, our jailhouse chats were used by the prosecutor to try to convince the judge to send me back to jail. But we expected that, right? Okay, here's Rabbit. Wait, did our call get used in the hearing? I hope the judge heard it's not normal to lock a person up for 22 days on a misdemeanor and no past history. You know, they didn't say which specific calls they went through. But, you know, if I go back and so my attorney actually had a printed version of everything the state attorney had put together to reference to the judge from the recorded phone calls. The written comments from the state attorney did mention the videos that I had done calling in from jail. But the excerpts that they read to the judge seemed to be excerpts from just private phone calls that I had, mostly with Jenna, as opposed to excerpts from the jailhouse call videos themselves. But I feel like we'll probably get the audio recording of the proceeding today, and we can double check, because I don't remember, Rabbit, if they mentioned the one that we did together specifically or not. Lisa Kelson, yay, you're home. I sure hope you got the gift basket that I sent. I'm so sorry that you had to go through this craziness. Yep, I did get the gift baskets. Thank you so much. You know, they only let, okay, so there's commissary, which is the money you have on your commissary account. You can personally order stuff from commissary to be delivered twice a week. But in addition to commissary, other people can send you care packages from a pre-approved list of care packages from a pre-approved provider, which is Aramark, and they have a website just for the care packages. But people can only send you can only receive a total of 2 care packages per week. And I think on the second week I was there, 2 care packages had already been sent. So I actually had, and I can't remember if it was Lisa or if it was Izzy, send a care package to my bunkmate so that we could get some extra. And so yes, I definitely did get the care packages. Thank you so much. Noodles Nirvana is the most popular care package in jail. And then there's the Elite Protein package, and then there's the low sugar package, and then there's the Keep It Halal package that is very popular. Christina K, I'm trying to picture the conversation. So what are you in for? Throwing chalk? I know, right? You have to figure out a good way to answer that question. So I would say I'm in here for things that happen protesting Scientology downtown. Very popular way to start a conversation in jail. Everyone hates Scientology in jail. It's amazing how many people consider themselves experts in Scientology in jail. And eventually, I started kind of playing along and acting like they were the ones telling me things that I didn't know, and to see how far they would go with it. But yeah. All right, let's see. I'm kind of losing my spot. Brenda says, so happy you are out. Kudos for not wasting the experience, but learning from the experience. We will all find a way to turn this negative into a positive, as I know you will lead us in that. That's right, guys. I'm going to tell you, my lawyers are so excited to take these charges to trial, as am I. And you know, that's what really matters. Oh, and that's why I said this pre-trial phase is the one that is so perfect for corruption, Scientology style corruption. Even if we're just talking about corrupting the process itself and not like literal quid pro quo style corruption. But once we get past that pre-trial phase, we get to what really matters, which is a jury of my peers. And I do genuinely question whether anyone at the state attorney's office truly understands what they're up against with a defendant such as I. And an organization with a reputation such as Scientology's. You have to imagine that the state attorney is going to get to a point where they're like, shit, we did not realize this is what we were getting into. No state attorney likes to lose at trial. And they are going to lose at trial. And then when we win at trial on the first charge, you have to wonder what type of conversation is going to take place at the state attorney's office when it comes to the second charge. Because like, we want to do this again. And that's actually the craziness of the abuse of this system and the fact that the criminal justice system is just, anyone who believes the criminal justice system operates on a innocent until proven guilty basis has had no involvement in the criminal justice system. Because look at this. I'm charged with 2 low-level minor misdemeanors that resulted in no injury of any kind whatsoever. And let's look at this chronologically, how this happened. So I get 1 charge, I bond out. As a condition of my bond, I cannot pick up any new charges. And you go, but wait a second. The second charge is bullshit. And you go, wait, don't I have an opportunity to prove my innocence on the first charge before I can be accused of picking up a charge? Now, I know literally I don't because I picked up a charge. But it's like, so wait a second. But you're innocent until proven guilty on the first charge. But you're also innocent until proven guilty on the second charge. You can be falsely charged with something. You can be charged with something you didn't do. You can be innocent of the thing you've been charged with. And yet the fact that I was charged with the second thing that I am innocent of and will be cleared at trial, I end up going to jail. Not because I've been convicted of anything, but because picking up a second charge violated the terms of the bond I was out on for my first charge. So I'm still being treated like I'm guilty until proven innocent on the second charge. I spent 22 days in jail for something I I've not been convicted of. And I know I'm not unique in this way. This happens to an awful lot of people. And our criminal justice system is broken, and it is guilty until proven innocent. And I never would have truly known that, understood that, and appreciated that if I not only experienced it myself, but spoke to so many people out of the 80 other men who were in the pod with me to understand what their situation was as well. All right, let's see. Mele, I got to get this right one of these days. Melelho, did you donate your commissary did you donate your commissary undie pirates? Come on now. Is that what you meant to write? Are you talking about the booty bandit? The booty bandit that was stealing underwear out of the pod laundry? Oh yeah, the booty bandit. The booty bandit was uncovered and he never struck again. I did donate all of my leftover commissary items, of which there were many, to my two favorite bunkies, and I donated some of the other stuff that I actually bought while I was in there from commissary. You can get more things from commissary other than food. You can get supplies, and so yeah, that's the answer. Melelho, that's the answer. Let's see. Valerie Boljak, welcome home. Aaron, thank you, Valerie. Great gig. TCB. Welcome home. Aaron, on a scale of 1 to Snack Santa, how many of your canteen treats did you hand out before leaving? I handed out a lot. But here's the thing. I handed out a lot of my commissary every day. Actually, I took care of my bunkies very, very well. Honestly, it's fun, especially when I know I'm not in there for a long time. And, I know I only have, the blessings of all of this commissary, because of all you generous, friends out there who donated the money to commissary. It's like, it was my pleasure to share with people. I feel like I probably suppressed the coffee and noodle market in pod 6C4 for the 3 weeks that I was there, because everyone else who they use their commissary, like they charge interest on their commissary. So they'll loan out a noodle, but they want 2 or 3 noodles back, or they'll loan out 3 noodles, they want 5 noodles back. I wasn't about that. I'm a 1-for-1 noodle man. And usually I'm just a giving out free noodle guy. I'm the free noodle guy. I would give out, the pork rinds. I'm not a big fan of pork rinds. I love them, but I love other stuff better. Also, there's some people in jail who will literally do anything for a honey bun. They will not shut the hell up about how much they want honey buns. Well, I like honey buns, but I like Butterfingers better. So, bought some honey buns and cinnamon rolls for the guys who seem to really like honey buns and cinnamon rolls, and I would give those out. Pod 64C was the place to be. And people honestly also really like talking to me about the YouTube channel and protests and content creation, and Scientology and helping people leave Scientology and all sorts of stuff. And honestly, one of the most prolific shows on the TVs in there is King of Queens. So like literally everybody had heard of Leah Remini and the Scientology and the Aftermath show and all that stuff. So, I was a fun guy to talk to and generous with the commissary, especially the coffee. At one point, someone said to me, I had technically speaking, there's kind of like 6 different types of bags of coffee. And I collected the whole set. And someone said, I don't think I've ever seen anyone with all 6 types of bags of coffee at the same time before. I was giving out 20 to 30 free cups of coffee a day is what I'm saying. I was running a goddamn Starbucks out of 6C4, okay? That's what I was saying. I was basically free Starbucks for everyone who asked. And I was giving away 30 cups of coffee a day, And so anyway, we had fun. Okay. JMT. Aaron, how is your daughter Brisbane doing? Give her an extra hug for all of us. She's actually doing very, very well. Heather arranged for her to have some extracurricular grief counseling. And I think even when she lined that up, Brisbane was like, I'm actually doing really good, I think. And Heather was like, that's all right. See if this helps. You don't have to do it, but give it a shot, see how it goes. But Brisbane is doing very, very well. Thank you for asking. Julia says, give Brisbane a hug for me. I will. Adcox, hey, happy birthday, Rabbit. Oh, is it Rabbit's birthday? Happy birthday, Rabbit. And Roba Muck. Wait, hold on. Come on. Roba Mick. Rob Almick. I think it's Rob. Thank you, Rob, for gifting 5 channel memberships. Oh, Gen X girl, were you ever charged with another crime? So the answer is yes. I was charged with a second misdemeanor battery for the incident with Norman Andrew Shape, where I opened up the front door to Scientology's Welcome Center. And I didn't actually open it up, to be honest. Someone else had already opened it up and walked through. But I held it open with my foot while speaking to a Scientology official in Scientology's Public Information Center. And then the door was slammed on my foot multiple times. And then I ended up making brief physical contact with Andrew. And I was charged with misdemeanor battery for that. So we'll be going to court on that one. And I'm looking forward to it. Matt Elliott says, what if the guy's wearing a mask and cannot be identified when he comes walking up near you? So, you know what? My lawyer, my newer lawyer, Jerry Theophilopoulos, he showed me the Florida statute about people covering their face in public, even licensed security guards. And guys, I'm going to have to look into this a little deeper. And if any of you out there, like CO Bill, for example, have already looked into this and just want to shoot me an email about it, please do. But here's what Jerry shared with me today. Because I was under the impression that this law about not covering your face in public was a more recent law passed by Governor DeSantis aimed at, preventing things like Antifa members being at protests and covering their faces. I really thought I remembered reading that this was a Governor DeSantis inspired legislation that targeted protesters who try to conceal their identities to commit crimes. Jerry showed me the statute, and that actually comes from like 1951 and was put on the books to basically target KKK members. And he showed me this to explain why this statute is never enforced anymore, that it's kind of a stale old statute. And, because he was showing it to me in writing, I wasn't going to, argue with him about it. But I swear to God, I thought there was something more recent that applied, that was intended to keep people from infiltrating protests and covering their faces and committing crimes and not being able to be caught. Why did I mention this? Because you're talking about people wearing masks. And I think you're talking about Scientology's flags, Sea Org security guards covering their faces in public. As of now, I still think that is against the law. Jerry just seems to think it's one of those old laws that never gets enforced. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that for now. We'll see. Julia O'Connell, I am so glad you're home. Sending love. Thank you so much, Julia. Tina says, that those 2 named Scientologists are going to try and set up contact with protesters. I hope they don't, but I would say this, even if they do, it doesn't violate any restraining order. It wouldn't violate, like, if the protesters are in public and they're just protesting and they're not doing something that is more designed to target someone, like, we would not want protesters to be out there saying, hey, we're looking for, John Tyler Gaffney. We wouldn't want that to happen. That would be a bad look. Hey, Danny, I see Danny in the chat. Good to see you, Danny. What was I saying? Yeah. Oh, right. So if protesters are out there and for whatever reason, John Tyler Gaffney comes out of the building to initiate contact with protesters, that would actually be terrible for Scientology, because that would show he's not afraid of anything. He's the one initiating contact. And that's why it's important that protesters stay on public property, as they always have. I'm just saying, because, John's a private security guard. His job is to stand at the reception desk at the Superpower building. There's no reason in the world for John to go outside and confront protesters or insert himself into conversations that public Scientologists are having. It's not John Tyler Gaffney's job to prevent Scientologists from speaking to protesters. And if it is his job, and that's why he's out there doing his job, and that's why he's initiating contact with protesters, he certainly cannot claim that those protesters are harassing him. And if John is worried about possibly being targeted or harassed, he's totally capable of going to work at the Sandcastle building instead, where there are no protests. There's like, it's not the protesters' fault if John and John's seniors choose to continue having him work at the one place where the Scientology protests are happening every week as well. Do you see what I mean? The judge is not going to keep falling for this nonsense. And I have a suspicion that the state attorney's office isn't going to keep falling for it as well. The protesters have always done a fantastic job following the rules and the laws. And even what I'm accused of, I promise you, we are going to be victorious at trial. And that is what matters. And we, meaning me, will not be getting into this situation again, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, Xenu Golf Club. Good to see you, Xenu Golf Club. Mandela was incarcerated for 27 years and became president. You were in for 22 days, which means you've got to run for Clearwater City Council next time around. You'll get more votes after this. I can tell you that the chance of me running for city council again is 0. Hell no. Northern Girl, good to see you. The prosecution is saying that like Aaron, the prosecution is saying that like Aaron has never written a KR before. Christy Lynn Wilson. Wouldn't it be amazing if the psych eval you only got because you were in jail, could be used in your trial to explain your motivation for protesting? Take that, cult. So happy you are free, Aaron. Christy Lynn, whatever you want me to call you. That is an amazing possibility. I wonder if that could be introduced as evidence, or if it's, that is interesting. That would be awesome. Northern Girl, you have a force behind you, Aaron. Thank you, Northern Girl. C.O. Belf, there you are. Aaron, you can convert to Christianity or Islam or whatever. We will still love you. Thank you, C.O. Belf. I am so tickled by how many people are worried that I'm converting to Christianity. And I say this without no desire whatsoever to insult any of my wonderful, beautiful, amazing Christian friends. There is no chance I'm converting to anything, even Christianity. It's just that I was so surprised by how educational, insightful, enlightening, and entertaining The Chosen show was. And how excited I was to have had the opportunity to at least learn a really good chunk of what the story of the Bible is without having to actually sit down and read the Bible, because I know I won't do it. And I consider, like, one of the things I would have liked to have had the opportunity to do in life would be to study sort of like a combination of history and religious history, because religious history is history. And I would have liked to have had an opportunity to become somewhat professional or expert in religious history in general, all the world's major religions, and how it has influenced nations and ethnic groups, and just society and culture and politics. I mean, I just think it's so valuable to understand this fundamental contributor to human this fundamental piece of human history, that I was just so excited to have been exposed to that story for the first time. I can understand if it seemed like I had the fervor of a new convert, but I had the fervor of a new student. Fear not. Okay. Rove Sow. I don't know how to say this. I can see it now. Scientology will send a flying monkey to a future protest who will use a megaphone to say that Aaron sent them there to harass, etc. Possibly. And I'll do a video condemning it and saying that I rebuke it and condemn it, insubordinate and churlish. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to give my lawyers everything they need to defend me effectively every step of the way. Okay, this is Mickey Bates has become a new member. Thank you so much, Mickey. Rib Guy, a question. Is your prison wallet secure? See, I knew you were making ass jokes. I knew you were making ass jokes, Rib Guy. Yes, the prison wallet is secure. Lena on me. I'm so happy you're sprung. I cried for you. You're doing the Lord's work. Question, were there rats or mice in jail? Excellent question. And the answer is no. Not a single mouse, not a single rat, not a single cockroach, not a single spider. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Now, we cleaned every square inch of the entire pod. By we, I mean the trustees. The trustees are the inmates who are basically assigned to essentially full-time work duty to get time off of their sentence. The inmates and the trustees and some of their helpers cleaned every square inch of every bathroom, every shower, the public area. The rest of the inmates would clean our own little pod every single day. Broom, mop, and some Fabuloso for some a little good smelling splash on top. And I'm talking soap, suds, everything. It was impressive. The cleanliness was truly impressive. Best. What happened to your watch hours while you were in jail? I saw this question come up. Let me actually pull up the analytics. Come on. Watch hours. Yeah, watch hours basically stayed the same. Now you have to understand the way I look at it on a graph, it's basically a 28-day graph. My default graph is a 28-day graph. And it has basically been maintained, which, guys, I mean, isn't that about as much as you can expect? Like, I was doing maybe 1 to 2 videos a day, and I was even skipping days every now and then. And, the fact that those of you who are helping me put up content on this channel were able to essentially maintain. Now, when I say, there's weeks and there's days and weeks here where it's higher than normal, and there's days and weeks where it's lower than normal. But on the whole, we're able to maintain the same level of output of content on this channel without me doing anything is so much more than I could have hoped for. And it's incredible. What's interesting is that the views are way down while the watch time is steady. And here's why that happens. You guys know my vertical, this is true for me, it's true for everyone on YouTube, whether they truly understand it or not. When you do a vertical live stream from your phone, in many cases, it looks like those videos get a shit ton of views. The truth is, YouTube measures and counts views on a vertical live stream differently than it counts views on your traditional landscape horizontal live stream like this. When you see a vertical live stream, even one of my protest live streams that has like 200,000 views, what those actually are 200,000 impressions. But for some reason, YouTube counts the impressions as views, and it creates an artificially high view count that makes YouTubers feel really good about themselves, because we are addicted to numbers and stats. And you feel really good about yourself because it got tons of views. And in many cases, you'll get a bunch of new subscribers because people scrolling through are like, oh, I like this click. And it's easier to do that on a vertical live stream than it is on a landscape. And well, the people who've been filling in for me, they've been doing the landscape ones. And so the watch hours are the same, even though the views are down. Oh, and the other thing, when I upload a YouTube short, many of you guys notice when I'm really in the groove, I'll upload anywhere from 3 to 10 YouTube shorts per day. Those get a lot of views, but they make no watch time and they make no money, but they make you feel really good about yourself because you get those views. So since no one's been uploading, pretty much no shorts have been uploaded in 3 weeks, and there's been essentially no vertical live stream protesting. And so that's why the view count has come down to reality, and the watch time has remained consistent. So there's some YouTube back office baseball for you. Here's Abigail. Aaron, I'm so happy you're out, and I couldn't be more willing to help with whatever you need. Feel free to reach out to me. I can't wait to see the upcoming changes and anything you've learned. Thank you so much, Abigail, and thank you for all your messages and your help in your gift baskets in jail. Super stormy day. So glad you are home, and thank you for being a channel member for 15 months. Anna Banana is a new channel member. Melelho says, run this by your lawyers, please. Are you referring to the idea of running protests from a control center here in the studio? I feel like that's what you're talking about, but I can't be sure. Christy Wilson says, option 3, alternate between 1 and 2. And that's true, Christy. Oh, yes. So you're talking about the poll. Alternate between 1 and 2. Yes. Alternating is definitely an option. Kazri, good to see you, Kazri. Listen to your intuition about protesting or promoting. Wise words. Lori Marie, glad you're back. Now better than ever. Alan Sanderson, cover up that red spot with a teardrop tattoo. Yeah, this red spot bugs me. I saw someone in the live chat say what it's called. And it looks like a popped blood vessel, right? But if it was a popped blood vessel, it would eventually go away, wouldn't it? Yeah. John Shostowski, keep your get out of jail free card in your wallet. Oh, guys, John actually sent me this awesome metallic, like, get out of jail free card. How funny would it be if I had been arrested and what I had on me in my property was a get out of jail free card? I bet I could have I'd be like, no, officer, you didn't know this, but your day's about to change. Okay. I got to get out of jail free card. Okay. This is official. Okay. Maleficent, welcome home, Aaron. Happy to see you out. Thank you, Maleficent. And thank you for being a channel member for 21 months. Okpud, glad to see you back, sir. Love your work. I focus on anti-communism, but Scientology's occult too. I feel bad for the brainwashed members. We can be mad, but should feel sympathy. Still can't excuse the behavior. Totally agree with you. Thank you so much. It can't be Okpud. Is it OC Pud? Okay, Rib Guy. Not true. It was your battery lighting system. Rib Guy, sometimes I just don't know what the hell you're talking about. What are you talking about? Okay, Julia O'Connell. Scientology should could infiltrate the protests if using your phone. Mama Catone, your city is beautiful and very weird. Yes. Rib Guy donated 5 channel memberships. Thank you so much. Dolores Moore, thank you so much. Izzy, from what I recall, you did not file battery charges on either event while you were arrested. Can you still file the complaints, or is it best to address it in your trial? You know what? Jerry the lawyer, did say that he could help me file those criminal reports. And I've got to get back to, I forgot to follow up with him on that. Because I know he was talking, there was a whole period of time where it was much easier for Jenna to have these conversations with Jerry instead of me. And that was something I remember he had told Jenna, but then I forgot to talk to him about it. So yeah, we are going to look into that. Melelho, truly glad to see you back home. I know your cellies want you back, but we don't want to share anymore. Glad you're safe from the booty bandits. Melanie. Okay, good. I'm just going to call you Melanie. Danny's Impact. Welcome back to the free world. Thank you, Danny. Good to see you. Valerie Boljack. Aaron, you would find this book very interesting. The Gifts of the Jews, Thomas Cahill. Very interesting. Look at their history and impact. Valerie, if you send me an email with that, then I will pull it up on the Audible and I will get it, because I've got like 15 Audible credits, and I need to use those. Nancy Stitchin, so good to see you, Nancy. 10 channel memberships. Thank you so much. Rob 1978. I tried to send your commissary, but it couldn't make it. Oh, could not make it through the account setup. Yeah, some people were having trouble with it. And I do think there was some point where I must have hit some sort of a 7-day max on commissary donos. There must be some sort of a 7-day max. I don't know what this, you know, if it resets every 7 days or if it's a rolling 7 days. I've got no idea. But oh my God, Miss Kim is here. Miss Kim SP. I'm here in Clearwater from Austin, Texas for the memorial. I'm sad that I missed you. Your channel found me 3 years ago, and now I am a protester. Thank you for your work. I'm hoping things go well. Kim, it's only 9 p.m. Come on now. I'm going to wrap this up. We can go out. We got to go out. We can go somewhere. Yeah, as soon as I finish this stream, I'll message the troops and see what's going on. I know people were talking about going to Prelude Sports Bar after the Lisa McPherson Memorial. I cannot go to Prelude because it's less than 500 feet from the Coachman building and the Clearwater Bank building. But if we can meet up somewhere else, let's go have a brewski. Let's go have a Yingling. All right, guys. Well, that is the last of it for tonight. 2 hours went by pretty quickly. This was fun, guys. I'm glad to be back. I'm so glad to be back. I'm glad to sleep in my own bed tonight. I'm glad to be able to have some pizza. And once again, guys, I am so thankful for all of you who've helped me and supported me in all variety of ways over the last 3 weeks. We did it. We made it through. They played every card they had to play. They tried everything. Made no difference whatsoever. We are more focused than ever. We are more of a team than ever. And I feel like we're getting back to the good old days. I think we needed this reset. And I think it worked. So thank you all. All right, folks. We're going to call it a night. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe